Let's be honest, it's a terrifying thought. But what if the unthinkable actually happened? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to turn that chilling question into a practical guide. We're going to break down exactly what to do in the moments, days, and even years after a nuclear event. You have 15 minutes to save your life. Sounds like a movie tagline, right? But believe it or not, according to FEMA, that's the real deal. After a nuclear detonation, you could have as little as 15 minutes before deadly radioactive fallout starts to arrive. And in that tiny window, every single second counts. So let's get right into it. The flash, the blast, those first 30 seconds. Your survival here boils down to pure instinct and a couple of absolutely critical moves.
The very first thing you'll face isn't a sound. It's not a shock wave. It's a flash of light so incredibly bright it can blind you from miles away. Your one and only instinct has to be, look away. Shield your eyes. Don't even think about it.
And this is where that old duck and cover drill you might have heard about becomes absolutely life-saving. By getting face down on the ground, you're shielding your exposed skin from a wave of intense heat, and you're protecting your head from flying debris when that blast wave finally hits, which could be a full 30 seconds after you see the flash.
Okay, the shock wave has passed. The immediate blast danger is over. But now, a whole new clock starts ticking. Because now, you're in a race against an invisible killer, the fallout.
And this timeline right here, it really lays it all out. See, fallout is basically just radioactive dirt and debris that gets blasted up into the sky. The key thing is, it takes time for that stuff to start falling back down. And that delay, that's your golden opportunity to get to safety.
So, where do you go? Well, here's the thing. Not all shelter is created equal, not even close. Your car? A mobile home? Forget about it. They offer practically zero protection. What you need is mass. Lots and lots of mass between you and the radiation. Think concrete. Think brick. Think earth. The deeper you are, the more central you are in a large building, the safer you're gonna be.
This quote from the Alaska Division of Homeland Security really nails it. You need to burn 3 words into your brain: distance, shielding, and time. Your entire goal is to max out all 3 of them, get as far away as possible, put as much dense stuff between you and the fallout, and then you wait.
Okay, you've made it inside. You're safe from the blast. But now, the game changes. The next 24 hours are all about managing that invisible threat of radiation.
You see this number on the screen, 90%. This might be the single most important number for your survival once you're in that shelter. But what is it?
It's all about decontamination. Look, if you are outside for even a second after the blast, just taking off your outer layer of clothing can get rid of up to 90% of the radioactive dust on you. That is a huge deal. It's the single most effective thing you can do.
And you have to do it right. Here's the checklist. You take that outer layer, seal it in a plastic bag, and get that bag as far away from everyone as you possibly can. If you can shower, use soap and water. But listen to this, it's a weirdly critical detail. Do not use hair conditioner. Seriously, it can act like a glue and will literally bind radioactive particles to your hair. You definitely don't want that. So you're inside, you're decontaminated. Now what? Well, your phone is probably a brick, the internet, gone. The power grid itself could be toast. That's why a simple, old-school radio, one with a hand crank or batteries, becomes your lifeline. It's the only reliable way you're going to get official instructions.
All right, so far we've been focused on the micro, right? Your personal survival. But now we got to zoom way out and talk about a totally different kind of threat. A silent one that could completely change the game for everyone.
And that threat is a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse, or HEMP. Imagine a nuke going off, but way, way up in the atmosphere. You wouldn't see a flash, you wouldn't feel a shockwave, there's no immediate radiation on the ground. But that one blast creates this massive, invisible pulse of energy that could fry electronics across an entire continent, sending modern society back to the 19th century in an instant. I mean, just look at the potential scale here. This is a simulation from a federal study, and it shows how one single HEMP event could cause the entire power grid to just collapse, a domino effect. We're not talking about a blackout for a few hours. We're talking about over 130 million people without power for years. Not months, years.
And just to put that into perspective for you, back in 1989,
A big solar storm, which is kind of like a natural EMP, took down Quebec's entire power grid. You know how long it took? 92 seconds, just over a minute and a half. Now imagine a deliberate military-grade HEMP. The estimated recovery time isn't days or weeks, it's 4 to 10 years.
So, let's look past that first day, past even the power grid going down. We're now talking about the biggest challenge of all, long-term survival. I mean, how do you even start to rebuild when the very foundations of society have crumbled?
Well, it all starts with food. Long-term survival demands long-term storage. This table gives you an idea. A full year's supply of the basics, we're talking wheat, beans, powdered milk, this is the bedrock of any real plan for after a disaster when supply chains are just gone.
And of course, water. Your stored water is going to run out eventually. That means knowing how to purify new sources isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely non-negotiable. Sure, high-tech stuff like reverse osmosis is the gold standard, but even knowing how to make a basic activated carbon filter could literally be the thing that saves your life. And you have to understand, these problems wouldn't just be local, they'd be global. All that soot and dust kicked up into the atmosphere, it could block out the sun, triggering what's called a nuclear winter. And according to a recent National Academy of Sciences report, this could cause a worldwide food crisis, crop yields plummeting, fisheries collapsing for years on end. But maybe the most sobering part of all this is what we don't know. This quote from the National Academy of Sciences says it all. Our modern world is so complex, so interconnected, that nobody can really predict exactly how it would all fall apart.
Which really brings us to a final, and I think pretty crucial question. In our hyper-connected world, what's the bigger threat? Is it the initial blast itself? Or is it the slow, cascading breakdown of everything else? The power, the food supply, the water, society itself.
So, what's the key takeaway here? It's that while this whole scenario is, well, it's terrifying, survival isn't hopeless. Not at all. It is possible. And the things that make it possible are knowledge and preparation. They are, without a doubt, your most powerful tools against the unthinkable.